What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Monday, everybody. Okay, it's the day after the Age of Disclosure weekend premiere. I just did this morning an impromptu night shift live stream with Clint, Sander, and Dan. We talked about the film. I was not expecting to do that on Monday, but we did it. The conversation got a little doomy, as it usually does. So now I have a new definition of what Case of the Mondays is. So, all jokes aside, though, I went on Friday to the Los Angeles premiere at Lumiere, and there was only, in terms of like people known in the UFO community, there was Matt Ford, Lester Nare, Danny Sheehan, Dan Cleary, who I did a podcast with, Missile Man, who's a friend of the show. He's been on the show twice. But the really big names were going to be on Sunday. There was going to be a Q&A on Sunday. There was going to be Jay Stratton, Dan Farah, Timothy Gallaudet, and I don't remember the other gentleman's name, but we're going to hear his voice a little bit because I made another correlation. And I don't know if people are going to be angry or not about this one, but I can see it now more clearly. And there is already audio rolling around from that Q&A because they weren't allowed to ask too many questions. There were some issues on X and other social media of debunkers and people who were being really disrespectful and even threatening. And that's the reason why they decided to not do a Q&A, because there was going to be some sort of issue there if that was allowed. But they did speak to people and they were asked a few questions. So I'm going to show you a little exchange that I saw that makes me realize that this effort that everybody's talking about now, this rumor that Ross Coulthard started talking about of potentially President Trump giving an announcement about this after the film. I did some digging and I told you guys that yes, there is indeed a collective plan to make this happen. And I already speculated that David Grusch is more than likely part of the plan. We saw Dr. Eric Davis talking to James Fox, appealing to Trump as well a couple of weeks ago. We have Dan Farah on Joe Rogan directly saying that he has high confidence that President Donald Trump is going to disclose. And last night, Jay Stratton talked about this too. And it just makes me think and go back to the first term of Trump and to a day in which Jay Stratton was one of the people who briefed the president about the UFO topic. There is a little clip from Seoul last year where Dr. Eric Davis is talking about this. Check it out.
I do know that Jay Stratton and his colleagues at the UAPTF did brief Trump, but they were briefing him on the UAP problem, not about the crash retrieval topic.
Okay, so we have that, right? In the movie, An Age of Disclosure, Jay Stratton talks about speaking to Mnuchin, who was on Trump's ear constantly, talking about the UFO topic, and how Mnuchin told him that he wanted to know, the president wanted to know, what were the economic implications of him disclosing this topic. So that gives you like a direct line already to President Donald Trump. Another person that is also supporting this, and a lot of people didn't catch on that one, and my good buddy Dan Cleary did on X, is that Joe Rogan, when he was on speaking with Dan Farah on the podcast, said that he would call Trump personally and ask him to disclose.
I do think I've come to understand that he is borderline enraged at how much has been hidden from the White House. So that alone might motivate him to just step up and say the truth. Maybe. It's also the most bipartisan issue of our time, so
I'll talk to him about it.
Have support. Yeah, you can.
I'll give it a crack. I'll talk to him about it. It's just there's so many other things to talk about.
I think that people don't realize how much power Joe Rogan actually has in the podcast sphere and also in media in general. His numbers, like, I'm not sure if I'm mistaken or not, but his numbers are all the numbers combined of the mainstream media outlets those are Rogan's numbers, and I think he surpasses them by a little. So we can't underestimate that. And I mean, the presidency was technically won because of the podcast sphere. They have a lot of influence. So Joe Rogan approaching Trump or calling him, he probably has him on speed dial to tell him that it would be a good idea to disclose. That's a big one too. So there clearly seems to be an effort. Not that everybody is in on it, but people are understanding the assignment, because I think we all understand how significant it would be that a sitting president, regardless of whether it's Trump or not, saying that we're not alone publicly like that would be an official disclosure moment. And I think everybody's putting all their chips on this. And we can add Jay Stratton to this, I think. And he's already one who briefed the president back then. And I don't know if he's already like leading this effort. It would make sense to me. I don't know about you guys, but let me know what you think about this audio that I'm about to play you right now.
There's a moment in the film where Jay talks about how Mnuchin, when he was Secretary of Treasury, asked him for a briefing on the situation. And when he asked him why he wanted a briefing, he said, well, I need to be prepared in case the president does decide to step to the microphone and tell the world we're not alone. So it's a big reveal in the film where clearly he was contemplating it with just the simple base facts he knew back then. And they decided obviously not to. But now circumstances change with Rubio being so out there in this film. He's arguably the second most powerful guy in the world, National Security Advisor and Secretary of State. It's only happened once in our country. It was Henry Kissinger for 2 years. It's a big difference now. So hopefully, Jay set the stage back then with those briefings, and helps further set the stage now with this film. And I was going to brag about this guy for a second, because people don't realize. I think a lot of you know here he was the UA Task Force Director and co-founded OSAP, but this guy retired as Senior Executive Services, which is the equivalent of two-star admiral, civilian two-star admiral, and like less than 0.5% of federal employees ever reach that status. So I think when Jay tells you that there's a giant craft under the ocean going 100 miles an hour, take it really fucking serious.
So they were talking about a previous moment where Timothy Gallaudet was talking about USOs, and Jay gave his estimation of what was going on with the situation. So Dan Farah just was making a point of how senior Jay Stratton is and how much he should know about USOs. But listen to where the conversation goes.
What do you think that would do to the world if President Trump got up to a microphone and said, "We are not alone"? A president of the United States doing that. Brett, do you want to?
What do you think, Brett?
It's the start. We've had this conversation, right? So I think the big question everybody asks, and rightfully so, is, well, what's next? So I think what it should look like is the president coming to the table, being frank and honest and saying, yes, we've been aware of it, we've been studying it, we've got a long way to go. I would like to see him come up with a disclosure task force. And the purpose of that task force would be to go over all the classified data, which there are mounds of that we've seen that hasn't been released yet. And has to be done in a way where this story makes sense, right? If we just dumped all the information out there, it'd be another 20 years before we could figure out and sift through all that. So a true, genuine effort is more than just getting out there and saying, yes, we're aware. We're changing the way we look at it. We're bringing the public into it. America's going to lead the effort because we are in a time crunch against Russia and China in reverse engineering some things. But it's going to take a while. It's not something you can get instantaneously and be like, great, now we all know what the truth is. It's got to be a process. So that's what I'm hoping follows the president's going up there and saying it. And that's what we'll be pushing for.
Because the key point is, Americans aren't fragile. You can handle the truth, right?
Yes, sir.
But you can't handle being lied to.
Exactly.
Yes. Right? So we got to take it to that next level. It's time to acknowledge that basic truth. Yeah.
Dan, what would that do to you if the president came out like that?
They're going to have to make a sequel.
Yeah, that's pretty big. And I think it's pretty clear now. That's why I used this picture, because this picture, I think, represents that joint effort to try and come up with a strategy where it doesn't matter who the president was. What they wanted was for ultimately the Trump card. No pun intended, but the pun still came out. Because let me give you an example. Like, for example, Jay briefed the president during his first term. They had no idea whether he was going to be reelected or not. And he wasn't. During the Biden presidency, it was abundantly clear that Biden probably wasn't completely in control. There was a whole team of people around him, and it made it a lot more difficult to get to a certain point where they could convince him to say something publicly. So they had to wait for the previous election that just took place. And I do think that they had probably a plan in case Kamala was elected as well. I don't think they had just a plan for Trump, you know? So when Trump won, it makes sense that the one man who already briefed them on the UFO topic would like continue sending him information through the already friendly UFO cabinet that he already has. Everybody is talking about UFOs. So it makes a lot of sense that that's the way they're reaching President Trump, to convince him to say something. I still don't know if it will work, but they're certainly trying their asses off to do it. And I do think that Dan, with Grusch, with Jay, with other people that are in the background, everybody involved in this picture too, I would say that they're part of this effort, trying to convince the president that he should disclose UFOs. That's just what it seems like. I don't know what you guys think about this one. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about Jay Stratton potentially being one of the most important people in this effort that now it caught fire? Everybody's hearing about this. They want for President Trump to disclose, and they're pushing for it. And to be honest with you, I would like to see that. I'm pretty sure you would too. But what do you think about this effort? What do you think about the plan? Let me know in the comments. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to like, share, hype, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That's all you need to do in order to help us, and it is what helps us the most. So thank you. But if you want to support us in other ways, there's a few links down there you can choose from. You can become a member on YouTube, or you can support us through KGRA. Anything you choose to do is always appreciated. So thank you. That's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay curious and inquisitive like Jay Stratton, always. Oh, and by the way, I did get this audio from somebody who went there, who recorded this part, and I'm not going to say any more about it. I just got the audio, and that's what happened. This is real audio from the Age of Disclosure Q&A session that wasn't really a Q&A. And this is all I was really interested in, to give you the news because I thought it was important. So there it is. Bye.